Okay, so this is basically lesson 2 of Excel that we're doing in our Engineering 1 class. Last time we made this Fibonacci sequence that you could change these 2 parameters and the whole sequence would change there. That used only relative references like this with no dollar signs in them. Then we did the multiple choice grader, which had a combination of a relative reference and an absolute reference that were necessary so that this single parameter would operate the whole page. Now what I want to do is take this and make a copy of it and change it to be both multiple choice and free response grading. Making sort of a grid where, I'm not a grid, yeah, well, making a table, I guess. We have values along the bottom and values along the top. To get started, what I want to do is duplicate this without losing it. So the way you copy a sheet is you right-click down here on the name of the sheet and you choose Move or Copy. And it comes up with this little dialog box. You have to click Create a Copy because I want to duplicate it. And then you just tell where you want it down here at the bottom. I'm just going to move it to the end. There are other ways to change the sequence of the tabs down here. And I'll show you those in a minute. But yeah, we just want to move this one to end. Make a copy and move it to end. So say OK. And if you were not careful observing this, you might think nothing had changed at all. In fact, if you look at this and this, the only thing that seems to be changing down here at the bottom is what tab I'm on. And the reason for that is it's actually the case. This tab is identical to this one except for its name, so you can't see anything changing. The first change, though, we're going to make, we're going to right-click down here. We're going to rename this one, and we're going to call it FR and MC grader. So it'll be used for tests that have both free response and multiple choice parts. Then this equation here is not going to work for us anymore. That formula is no good, so I'm going to delete that because we're going to have a different setup. And in fact, we're going to change some other things here. I'm going to make this be MC. I'm going to put a little down arrow like that. So my scores on the multiple choice will start at the maximum and go down by 1 as we move down that way. The second thing I'm going to do is come up here and type FR and put a little arrow that way. Oops, sorry. That way to indicate my free response values will start with the maximum score here. And let's make this easy. Let's start with 40 points of multiple choice possible and 10 points of free response possible. And we'll make that red so that we know we've got that is one of the other parameters. So only 2 parameters here. You put the maximum number of points you can earn from multiple choice and the maximum number of points you can earn from a free response grade. And then this will need an equation, a formula here, that'll merely be the thing next to it minus, and I could go -1, but a lot of times with the free response, we go down by half points. We'll give a kid a half point for this or that because they kind of got it right, but not quite. So free response, a little more wiggle room on the grading, and that's reflected by the numbers here not going down by 1 each time, but going down by 0.5 each time. So there we go there. We have that. So on this test, if you got 40 right and 10 right, your number would appear here, and you would get 100%. What's tricky, though, is try to write, like, what should this equation be right here? This will be 8 right out of 10 on the free response and 37 right out of 40 on the multiple choice. So if you think about that for just a minute, you'll realize that to calculate this, it will be this grade plus the score plus that score in the numerator of this equation. And the denominator, it'll be the maximum points possible out of the multiple choice plus the maximum points possible out of the free response. In this case, you should be able to kind of in your head go 37 and 8 would be 45 out of a total of 50. We should get 90% or 0.9 when we hit enter here. And we do, we get a 0.9. Now, again, like the last one, we're going to want this to be in the format up here of percent. So I click that, turn it into percent. And because it won't always be 40 and 10, we're going to need to see some decimal places. So I'm going to click this twice to increase the revealed decimal places by 2 spaces. Very briefly, I want to mention that the actual calculations that go on in Excel go out to, I don't know, 10 decimal places or something like that. But what you're controlling here by clicking this is how many are actually displayed. They start off displaying a few, and then if you want to display more, you can, or less, you can control that by playing around with these. So please be aware that the actual very, very highly precise value is stored in this computer. It's just displaying what you want it to display, the closest value to that. Now, just like last time with the multiple choice grader, we're going to need to blend absolute and relative references here. So if I were to drag this up, say, or over, I'm going to get errors in both cases. Now, these are different errors because different kinds of things are going on. But the point is that when I drag this up or down, we're going to see that the numerical references of all of these are going to change. So up here, I'll show you in a second, that's going to be B5 plus G1 divided by B2 plus C1. All of these numbers, these numerical portions of references, will go down as I drag it up, just like they would go up if I dragged it down. They move up and down because you're changing where you are, and those are relative references. So let me show you right here. And you can look at, it color codes these things too. It's another neat thing. So B5, that's actually saying this blue guy over here. The blue letters, the blue guy. This one, G1, that's the red guy, the red ones, right? B2, that's this purple guy. C1, that's that green guy. So it's the blue one plus the red one over the purple one plus the green one. That's real. I actually don't spend a lot of time looking at B5, G1. I don't type those numbers in. And you might have already noticed that. I probably should have mentioned it in the last lesson. When I was writing this equation here, I'll show you real quick. Let me just delete this equation again and show you how that works here. I typed in equals, and I just took my cursor and clicked. Oh, I'm sorry, first I did my parentheses, typed that in. Well, I took my cursor and clicked on here. I did not actually go, oh, let me look here, that's column B, and this is 6. That's a pain, not worth my time. I can, fortunately, you know, the people who made Excel made it so you don't have to look where the cell is and figure that out. You can just kind of go over and click on it. As long as you are editing a formula, you can merely click to enter the cell reference. I can put the plus, click that one, G2 goes in, and it's color-coded. Close parentheses, divide by, open parentheses, that one, which is B3, and that one, which just happens to be C2. And again, the color coding is all there. So that's the correct formula here, but if I'm going to drag it up or down, those numbers are going to change. And that's really what I want you to focus on, other than the clicking thing. The clicking thing is useful as well. So you see the reason we're getting an error here is that while the 38 and the 38 is correct, right? Because we only dragged this up. So this value here, B5, is the correct number here. But this one's off because we really wanted to always look on the second row for this value, not the first row. So that one changing is a problem. Similarly, B2, this was B3. When we dragged that up, it changed to B2. When we dragged this up, it changed to C1. So all these numerical references here, here, and here needed to not change. To get them to not change, we go back down in here, and you put in a $ like this. And that's going to prevent that 2 from changing, so that we'll always be looking on row 2 when we drag this guy. When we copy this up, this will continue to look on row 2. The 2 will not change when I drag it. Here, we want this to always look on row 3, and here we want this to always look on row 2. Now, if I take that equation and I drag that one up, it actually works, because the 2 didn't change to a 1, and the 3 didn't change to a 2, and the 2 didn't change to 1. So for dragging up and down, this is a formula that works. However, if we take this and we drag it sideways, we're still going to get our error. And the reason we get our error is because if you notice, when you're dragging sideways, you're changing the letter references you're on. So this B is going to change to an A. This G is going to change to an F. This B is going to change to an A. And this C is going to change to a B. I'll show you. Right there. And you can look at the colors as well and see what's wrong. What should be here got shifted over that way. What should be here got shifted that way. What should be here got shifted that way. And what should be here got shifted, which is good, actually. We were hoping. So this is a thing to notice, that the red reference actually does work. It works whether I drag up or down or left or right, because we do want the letter to be able to change. When we're in column F here, we want this to look in column F, just stay on row 2. And this will be on column E2. This will be D2, will be that red reference, that second reference in here. But this A6, that's no good. We want this to be B6. So what we have to do to get this A to stay as a B, we go back to our original one that we dragged and put a $sign before the B. So this is interesting. The B part stays the same. We'll always look in column B to find the first value here. And we'll always look on row 2 to find the second value here. Now let's think about the denominator. I don't want this to change its row or its column as I drag it around. I want this to always refer to B3. So I want the B part to also not change. Same thing goes for the free response one. I want the C part to never change. So putting in those $signs is a way of ensuring that when I drag it up and down, the proper things change. And when I drag it left or right, the proper things change. Oops, wait, did I make a mistake? Oh, I left out my B here somehow. I thought I put that in. There we go, let me hit enter there. Oh, all of them went away. I must not have hit enter. Let me go in here, put my $signs like I want them, and let me hit enter this time. So now, yes, I drag this up or down, and that's working because the original $signs we put in there for this 2 and that 3 and that 2, but not on the 6, right? Because we do want it to change which one we go here. But then it also has, if you look, I'm going to grab this and drag it left, those are right. If I double click this one, you can see these two didn't change at all. B3, $B, $3, it will always be that cell, no matter where I drag that copy and drag that formula. $C, $2, absolute, doesn't change the C, doesn't change the 2. These changed a little bit, right? Over here I was looking at column G, here I want to look in column D, and that's what I actually desire, so that's why it's set up like that. And this is still looking in B6. So dragging sideways or up and down now works correctly. My $signs are right for doing all of this. Now, one other thing about this clicking and dragging, some students get confused about how this works. As you can see, I'm sort of piecewise going in and filling this in. Let me quickly Control Z. Let me double click this, make sure, yeah, that's the right formula there. All right, so if I only had one formula written that was correct, so I'm going to quickly delete these. So I wrote this one correct formula that'll work everywhere I take it. I can get it to go over the whole range, it just takes some time. What I typically do is drag up, oops, then while that's still selected, drag left. While that's still selected, I'll drag it down. While that's still selected, I'll drag it, left, right earlier. And so that gets copied and dragged over the whole thing. You can't just take one and drag it diagonally. It doesn't allow you to drag diagonally like that. It'll either go sideways or up and down. But after you get the sideways done, then you can take that range and drag it up if you want to. So that's how you copy by dragging. Now let's check and see if this works. What if we only had 9 free response questions available and only, say, 27 multiple choice points? Well, as you can see, it's correctly calculating those values. You could check it by taking something you know works, like maybe 75 and 25. Well, if we have, that's a total of 100, right? So when you go 70 and 24, that should be 70 plus 24 is 94. So this is clearly working based on only these 2 parameters. These are the only 2 things you ever have to change to get this entire spreadsheet to function properly. That was a little long. I'm going to stop this one and make a next video for continuing to investigate Excel.